Yo, what is good, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to the channel, guys. We have some more breaking news, notes, highlights, observations from another day here in Dallas for the Cowboys. A lot of notes to go over, and a day where the defense actually looked really good, and a couple of guys on the offense stood out. But we're going to go over all of that in this video, so make sure you guys are ready for that. But before we jump in, make sure you guys smash that like button just so we can help get this video to more Cowboys fans around the world. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Join the family. I will be covering the entirety of the offseason, which includes the rest of free agency, training camp, trades, preseason, and regular season. Guys, also, I will be live streaming during Cowboys games throughout the season, especially in the preseason, so make sure you guys are here for that. But without any further ado, let's get into the video. Now, one thing of note, we saw a lot of Josh Ball continue to see first-team reps at right guard, something that is very interesting, but it's not necessarily surprising, I would say, just because Zach Martin is unavailable, but Josh Ball is a guy who they have high hopes for and maybe could develop in the future, so we'll see how he continues to look with Zach Martin being out. Now, the defense, like I said, was pretty much dominant throughout all of practice, looking insanely good. There were so many plays where Jabril Cox had a nice play, Trayvon Diggs, there was Stephon. I mean, there was so many guys just making big-time plays for this defense throughout practice, and that was just one of the many things to know. Another guy that looked really good, Jalen Moreno-Cropper, had a nice screen off of motion. That was something good. Jalen Brooks is another guy who just continued to look very good in practice. Two young guys who they do have high hopes for going forward, but we don't really know what their role will be with this offense going forward. But for the foreseeable future, it's CeeDee Lamb, it's Brandon Cooks, it is, Michael Gallup, and then you got Jalen Tolbert, you got Moreno-Cropper, you got Jalen Brooks, Jalen Tolbert. I think that's another guy I forgot to mention. So those guys are looking good right now in camp. And then for the defense, you have Dante Fowler having a great day at practice. The pass rushes are going to be probably the most important thing here for the Dallas Cowboys next season. And, Dante Fowler is a guy who they brought in and they have high hopes for as he continues to develop coming over from Atlanta. And he has been good so far in camp, pairing up with Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. I think they, have a very intriguing pass rush group right now, and they're only going to continue to get better over the next couple of days of camp. So he looked good, Dante Fowler, and then you have a couple of guys in the running back room and the wide receiver room like Duece Vaughn and Cavante Turpin, who are being utilized in a bunch of different ways out the backfield as running backs, scat backs, as wide receivers lining up in the slot at the outside. Those are two guys who can make, any play turn into a big one, so they've been utilized in a ton of different areas. And Malik Davis also got some first-team rec at running back with the Cowboys, trying to be, extremely cautious with Tony Pollard. They know he's their future at running back, so they're really trying to be cautious with him, allowing Malik Davis and Duece Vaughn to get some first-team reps at the running back position. But like I said, it was definitely a slow day for the offense. The defense played very well, but the offense just looked a bit off. There was some botched snaps. There was some interceptions. It wasn't a bad day. It just looked sloppy. It looked like they had some rust on them during this day of practice. So we'll need to see them continue to improve in that aspect. We also saw a little bit of Ronald Jones, and Ronald Jones actually made some nice plays today. Something that I was very surprised about. I felt like coming into the offseason or coming into the training camp period, I didn't think Ronald Jones was going to be able to make this roster. But over the last couple of days, every time he touches the ball, you kind of say like, oh, okay, I didn't know if he still had that in him. But there is something to look at there. And then lastly, I want to talk about Brandon Cooks just being a leader on this team, taking the team far away. I mean, he's being a leader in terms of guiding these young players, trying to mold them into being the players that we know that they can be. So good thing for Brandon Cooks. I mean, he's always trying to help out somebody. He's always trying to give some pointers. He's trying to, demonstrate leadership throughout the entirety of practice. So that is something you love to see from a guy like Brandon Cooks, who is still in maybe his prime. I mean, he's still coming off some good seasons. But overall, when I look at this team, I think they're one of the most slept on, one of the most underrated teams in the entirety of the NFL with, the players they got from the top to the bottom. The offense looks good. We already talked about the wide receivers they have, but the offensive line is, top tier, especially if they have some guys really step up going into another season. Like Tyler Smith is a guy they have high hopes for. Terrence Steele. You still got Jake Ferguson, Peyton and Hendershot, who are looking really good so far in camp at the tight end position with no more Dalton Schultz. At running back, you have like 2 or 3 guys, 4 guys that they really like with Tony Pollard and Duece Vaughn, Malik Davis, Ronald Jones. And then defensively, we all know how good this defense can be, especially adding a guy like Stephon Gilmore. They have some injuries to the safety position right now with Donovan Wilson and Israel. So, and Jordan Lewis is on the PUP list. So we'll see once they get fully healthy. I think this defense has a ton of potential, a ton of ability to be one of the top defenses in the entirety of the NFL. So we'll see how they continue to play over the next couple of weeks, next couple of months here. But I think once the preseason games start and they roll around, we're going to see a lot of Duece Vaughn. I think he's going to be someone who stands out. I think Jalen Brooks is a guy who's really going to stand out as well. Hopefully in a guy like Will Grier, the former Carolina Panthers quarterback, can really take a step up as well and maybe even win the number 2 job on this team at the quarterback position. So let me know what you guys think about this team so far. Do you think they have what it takes to make it far in the NFL playoffs? Do you think they can make the playoffs this year? Let me know what you guys think. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Today's video is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. And if you love playing fantasy sports like football, basketball, baseball, and so many other sports, but also love being able to win money, you're going to want to stick around for this whole segment. Introducing Underdog Fantasy, the ultimate platform for fantasy sports lovers. Do you want to experience the thrill of drafting your team and competing for huge prizes? Well, look no further. With Underdog Fantasy, you get access to a wide range of fantasy sports, including football, basketball, baseball, and so much more. But here's what makes Underdog Fantasy stand out from all of those other apps. They've got quick and user-friendly drafting process, a unique and exciting game formats, fair and competitive contests for all skill levels, and attractive bonuses and promotions. Not only can you draft teams and compete with others, but you can also play a game of higher and lower, which is personally my favorite thing to do on there, but you can potentially win 20 times the money you put down. And if you use code MattyDubs when you sign up, Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. And what that means is basically when you deposit, let's say $100, they'll give you a free $100 to use and play with. Click the link in the description to get started, or head to the website right now to start dominating the fantasy world. And don't miss out on all the fun. Be a part of the Underdog community starting now. And don't forget, if you use code MattyDubs, they'll match your first deposit up to $100. Let's get started. Get into drafts with me starting today.